Hey Seekers, this is Lee from TorSeekers.com, and I just wanted to make this real quick short video. I'm in the process of putting more videos together for the website and for the ministry, but I just felt like I really needed to address this Christmas issue. I've tried to leave it alone, didn't really want to get into the arguments and whatnot online, so I just didn't really want to go there. I just want to ignore Christmas altogether this year, but I just couldn't help it. So I see different ministries addressing Christmas with some really great videos and really good posts. The problem that I'm coming up with is when I think back over the years, what my perspective was as a Christian and why we kept Christmas the way we did and why we went along with the traditional Christmas the way most Christians do. If someone would have told me back then that it represented paganism and the symbols and all those things that go along with it existed, I probably would have taken note, and I would have looked at those symbols and thought to myself, well, that's not really what it means to me. I think that that's not my heart in the whole thing. And I'm sure this is a scripture that everyone is fairly familiar with. But I guess it depends on who you are. If you've ever heard this before, in Deuteronomy 12, as the Israelites were going into the land, Yahweh said this to them starting in verse 29. When thy Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, and whither thou goest to possess them, thou succeedest them, and dwell in their land. Take heed to thyself that they not be snared by following them, after they have destroyed them from before thee. And thou inquirest not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto thy Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord, which he hateth, have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. What thing whatsoever I command you, observe it and do it. Thou shalt not add to, nor diminish from it. So I realize that many people read that scripture and they think, well, first of all, the Old Testament doesn't apply to me anymore anyway. That's a whole different argument that we can address at a later time. But here, even in verse 32, where it says, what things soever I command you, observe and do it, thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. Even if these Christmas symbols technically weren't pagan, how do they glorify the Father? In what way? Do they glorify the Messiah in any way? They don't. They add to what we've been instructed to do, and it's very clearly what we've been instructed not to do. And like I was saying, the argument that I had in my own mind was, well, that's not really how I view it, and that's the real problem here. I think that what I've been struggling with, I come to realize that people put too much value in their own intentions. They think too highly of themselves and their own intentions. Well, that's not what it means to me. Well, the Father knows my heart. He knows what I think about that. He knows I try to honor Him each and every day and obey Him and love Him. But I think we failed to realize that the standards that He set for us are more important than the way we view it ourselves. Let me give you a good example. Let's look at Exodus 32. Exodus 32, starting in verse 1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto them, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what has become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives and your sons and your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were on their ears, and brought them to Aaron. And he received them in their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool. After he had made a molten calf, they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which you brought out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast unto the Lord. And they rose up early on the morning and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people saw it and ate and drank and rose up to play. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go thee down, for thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. And what most people don't realize, what most Christians don't realize, is the scriptures don't say, and they began to worship the golden calf. They were not worshiping the golden calf. They said, Behold, tomorrow is a feast unto Yahweh. You see, Moses was their intermediary between them and Yahweh. And since Moses had not come down off the mountain, they believed in true Egyptian fashion, they needed another intermediary. And they created one for themselves. See, these people in their hearts believed they were worshiping Yahweh. The very next day, they were going to have a feast unto Yahweh, not to the golden calf or some other false god. They were literally practicing the same traditions that they had adopted in Egypt. And that's the problem that the Father has. He does not want us to worship him in the ways of the heathen. And it doesn't matter if it seems okay to us. It doesn't matter if we're okay with it and we believe he knows our hearts and all these things. It's all irrelevant. We put too much value on our own intentions. I used to do that a lot myself. As a matter of fact, it's something I had to work on in my marriage, is that I put too much value on my own intentions. My wife would say, but you never do this for me. You never do that for me. You never help me here. You never do that. And my answer was always, well, I really want to. I intend to, just I never follow through. Well, your intentions are really worthless. It's the follow through that really counts. It's what we actually do that really counts. So I just want to challenge everyone, as you're growing in truth, and as as the Father's beginning to reveal this truth to you, to keep in mind that we're to be focusing on what pleases him, not and put no value on our intentions, no value on how honest and truthful we truly think we are. No matter how much we think we want to serve him, ultimately serving him is following his ways. And that's it. That's the only point I wanted to make. I know this is a short video, but I just wanted to reach out and just share my thoughts and my heart on this. And if you have any comments, comment below. Like and subscribe. Blessings.